Hey, what's up, everyone? We're in part 6 of our series called Rhythms, where we're talking through some of the life practices of Jesus and putting them into practice ourselves. And in this session, we're going to be talking about a really interesting practice, that is the discipline of meditation. Now, I imagine there are people out there, a few of you at least, who go, meditation, what is it we're talking about? Kind of an elusive term, maybe in Western 21st century Christian thought. But maybe there are a few things that come to your mind immediately when I say meditation. Maybe you just immediately picture a bunch of Buddhist monks up in the mountains in East Asia. Maybe you imagine Luke Skywalker levitating above a rock. I don't know what's in your brain right now. But it's important for us to understand as we talk about meditation that meditation is a historic Christian practice. Maybe in our 21st century context in America, we don't really talk about it a whole lot, maybe in church, but it's a historic Christian practice. Meditation has been a core component in intimacy with God for thousands of years. The psalmist says this in Psalm 119:97. He says, speaking to God, "Oh, how I love your law. It is my meditation all day long." As we begin, I think it's really important. We might have preconceived notions about what meditation means. And so as we begin, we got to understand that there are some very clear differences between Eastern or modern secular forms of meditation and historic Christian meditation. In Eastern forms of meditation, there are goals that are very different from our historic Christian meditation. In Eastern forms of meditation, the goal of meditation is to empty your mind. It's an attempt to escape the physical world and achieve nirvana or enlightenment. It's essentially, I am pursuing an out-of-body experience, trying to get away from the physical world because the physical world is bad, it's gross, it's evil, and I'm trying to reach enlightenment, an existence beyond where I am right now. And in modern secular forms, much like fasting, as we talked about previously, there are some modern forms of meditation, just like there are fasting, but they're a little bit different. They have different goals in mind. And in modern secular forms of meditation, we have basically the same goals, very similar to Eastern forms of meditation, only the goal in modern secular forms isn't nirvana, it isn't enlightenment, it's simply to achieve some form of mental rest. But these forms, Eastern meditation and modern secular meditation, these are different from historic Christian meditation. A historic idea of Christian meditation, a historic practice of meditation for Christians is not to empty our minds. Our goal is not to get away from the physical world. It's not an attempt to escape where we are right now at all, but rather it's a practice that's intended to fill our minds with the voice of God and center us in the physical world to respond in obedience to Him. The goal is to focus on God, to enjoy God, and be more fully present here right where we are. Richard Foster says it like this: what happens in meditation is that we create the emotional and spiritual space which allows Christ to construct an inner sanctuary in the heart. If the term meditation is still a little strange to you, know that at its heart, this is the practice of contemplation and reflection. It's so closely connected to abiding prayer, which we've talked about previously. Christian meditation is focusing our attention on Jesus, clearing our minds and our emotions from our selfish needs and desires, and listening for His voice in order to activate His will in the world. This is the goal of meditation. In modern America, it's kind of unfortunate, right? We've often boiled down devotion to Jesus as simply thinking about Him correctly and making good decisions accordingly. And these are vital. These are important steps, important parts for our spiritual formation, to be sure. But if this is all there is to it, to following Jesus, what happens is that we build wonderful cathedrals of thought regarding ancient philosophies. And we read mystic texts with cosmic mysteries that were written thousands of years ago, and we argue about minute differences between how you and I read an ancient word, and all the while completely ignoring a God who is still alive and active today, and is wondering, why do we don't want to just sit down with Him, spend time with Him, and hear what He wants to say to me today? There's a danger here in over-intellectualizing our connection to God and not actually spending time to be with Him and to listen to Him. The Scriptures, both Old and New Testaments, are filled with devoted servants of God who not only thought about Him and obeyed His word, but many of them many of them heard his voice clearly and explicitly. They received directions from God. They received correction from him. We often think of Jesus as though he was a prophet and was a teacher, but he is still both of those things for us today. Jesus said in John chapter 14, speaking to his disciples, and it's true for us as well today, he said this, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper to be with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him or knows him. You know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you." And he goes on, he says, "The helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all that I have said to you." We see an active, an interactive relationship we have with Jesus through the Holy Spirit today. A practice of meditation is the active pursuit of communion with God. It's the commitment to learn to hear God's voice when he speaks. It's a discipline of receiving God's heart and vision for the world by sitting with him and then activating this heart and this vision in the world around us. So, how do we begin developing a discipline, a practice of meditation? We got to recognize that there are many different forms of meditation. Again, in these teachings, we're simply scratching the surface. I want to invite you to go explore Christian meditation some more. There has been centuries of writings and teachings and books and thoughts put out there about Christian forms of meditation that I invite you to explore. But while there are many different forms of meditation, meditation is most simply pursuing communion with Jesus through the Holy Spirit by actively focusing our attention on him. It's reflecting on his teaching. It's listening for his voice. It's releasing our selfish desires in the pursuit of more of him. And while there are many different ways to meditate, there are a few simple tenets I identify to beginning a practice of meditation. If we're starting fresh, here are 3 simple things that should be in the front of our minds as we pursue meditation: placement, posture, and persistence. Placement is so important as we meditate. Placement is simply picking a space. Where am I going to meditate? Where is it going to happen? I think this is important for us. Remembering the heart of meditation is focusing on God, we got to find somewhere quiet that will help us focus our attention on Jesus. Truly, you can meditate anywhere. It doesn't need a specific space or like you got to face the sun in a certain way to meditate. No. Anywhere that can help you focus your attention on Jesus. Where is a place that helps you focus? Maybe it's at the library. Maybe it's in your bedroom. Maybe it's on a noisy train if you're weird. I don't know. Maybe you're like that. Maybe it's sitting under a cherry tree with the sun hitting you just right. I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever space helps you focus your attention on God, that should be your placement when you meditate. It truly can be anywhere, but we have to be intentional, knowing what our purpose is in mind. Placement matters, and posture matters. Maybe some of us, as we think about meditation, we're going to go for that lotus pose, like sticking our feet up in the air, crossing our legs, and like maybe try to levitate a little bit. I don't know what you're going to go for as you meditate. But again, just like placement, our posture can be anything. It's important for us to be intentional, however. We can sit any way we want to. We can sit anywhere we need to. But remembering our focus, remembering our purpose, let's be intentional about what we choose. We can't forget how deeply the mind, body, and spirit are connected to each other. And it's true that while I can stand through a whole worship night with my hands in my pockets and headphones in my ears, it really doesn't help me focus my attention or focus my worship toward Jesus. And while that's true in this scenario, it's true also for meditation. I might be able to sit wherever I need to, sit however I need to, but our posture that we take can help us focus on God. What posture will you take that helps you focus your attention on God? Placement matters, posture matters, and persistence matters. There's a lot more listening and reflecting in meditation than there is talking. And this doesn't come naturally to any of us. Our minds will wander. Redirect them. Our bodies will grow restless. Give them a stretch and recenter your focus. Like all the practices, developing a rhythm will take time, practice, and persistence. Stick with it, and incredible fruit will flow from our daily lifestyle. God is desiring people who will hear his voice, who know his heart, and who crave his will to be done in the world. The simple practice of meditation will take us deeper and deeper in communion with God.